Hey everybody, it's Detroit's Love Guru, and I got a special show for you today. And world-renowned Dr. Diana Kirshner, who is she's been on Oprah, she's been on the Today Show, Good Morning America. She's had her own PBS show. Her book, Love in 90 Days, she promotes people finding love. And if you're having problems and difficulty finding love, please listen in. You can get her book, Love in 90 Days. She's been around for a long time, has a lot of professional insight, just a dynamic individual. And we're going to be talking about love in 90 days, so don't go anywhere. It's going to be a dynamic show, people. And as always, you can join the live chat below, so don't go anywhere. Be right back. And we're live, and I want to welcome Dr. Diana Kirshner, and I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. I know
yes.
My last name, I get butchered all over the place. And I gave, I don't know if you heard me, but please, she's, Dr. Diana's been on Oprah, world-renowned book, Love in 90 Days. And I want to, what is the struggle? Do you find more of a struggle with men looking for love or women, or is it sort of equal? And
It's it's sort of equal. It really is. And these days, it's very challenging. We have a lot of possibilities because we have so much technology. We have apps, we have sites, we have this up the gazoo. But
absolutely.
It's challenging and it can really burn you out. However, the great news is that this year, 2022, is a fantastic year to find love. Fantastic.
Now, this is awesome. I got to hear I got to ask you, and this is coming.
Right.
What makes 2022 fantastic versus, is it because, we talk about COVID and I've been asked a lot that Greg has your, business. Have you shown more couples, going through problems, more business? And I've been flattered. I've been busy for a while. And I tell people on, local shows, Detroit news and stuff, that it's going to be a time where divorces increase or you're going to have a baby boom. It's a matter of who you're talking to, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a different matter for couples, but in terms of finding love,
Yes,
right, the
please.
pandemic has been really, really good. For example, Match.com did a study where they interviewed 5,000 singles, and 53% said that they are looking more now for a really good relationship,
Oh my
right?
goodness.
That's like soul satisfying, that's real, right? Much
Yes.
more than the past. Why? Because they've had to go through all this loneliness, this isolation, right? Facing the pandemic alone, they come to realize that love is really where it's at, right? And only 11% said they were just dating there casually. They were just dating around casually or looking for a hookup, right? So the
Yep.
numbers have shifted a lot. The other thing that's going on is that people are more honest when they're dating, right? Because
Well,
they're looking for a real relationship.
I would love that. And we know people, and I did this about, dating and how many people mislead, blatantly lie,
Yes,
doctored pictures, the filter age, right? And
yes.
so are you're finding more people being honest and genuine? And do you think they're being honest and genuine what they want, which is great? What about themselves and how they present themselves? Are they being more honest?
Well, the culture of online dating and apps is a culture of fibbing. So you do get some fibbing. It's mostly in terms of age, right? That kind of thing.
Yes.
Um, uh, there is fibbing in terms of that. I mean, so that's something you kind of have to get around. But
Yeah. we all know, right? How old are you? That's why, even Clint Craig. How old are you? I said, how old do you think I am? I don't ever give a direct answer.
But not everyone is fibbing, but there is still some fibbing going on, but what's happening is when they actually get to the coffee date, they get to meet each other, or they get to the Zoom date, it's much more real than it has been. And the other interesting thing is that there's fewer ghosting. We used to have this whole situation where people would just disappear on you. Oh,
Yes.
I really like you, it's fantastic, I want to see you again. Gone. Nothing.
And
Nothing.
they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, right?
Well, we don't
Or
know. We don't know,
yeah,
what's
we
really
don't.
going on. I mean, often there's a lot of self-centeredness and, and everything moving very rapidly. So, on that dating scene, because there's so many choices. There's just so many
Absolutely.
choices.
How
But
many?
I want to go back to this good news.
Please.
This
Yeah,
is the
absolutely.
age of
Please.
abundant love, everybody.
Awesome. Give us some tips.
Okay, so what's really important is, of course, your photo, and especially for women, if you're going to do some online dating or app dating, make sure you have a really great photo, where you're smiling and looking into the camera. Red is a wonderful color for women, and even men can wear a darker red. It With a little bit of a décolletage. This top is not exactly perfect.
It's funny because there's research in when women are ovulating, right? It's been an age-old studies for that they wear more red when they're looking for a suitor.
Exactly, exactly. It's true. Well, men will rate women.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we lost you.
Yes. How weird
Uh-oh.
is that?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
back. So,
Yeah, I was just saying that women, women are rated as more beautiful when they're wearing red by men.
wow, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
and I cannot disagree with you.
yeah.
It's the eye
So yeah,
catching.
you
It's
really
more
wanna
alluring.
you
It's
wanna have that beautiful, energy coming off your face, and that beautiful smile, looking into the camera, that warmth, and that's important whether you're a man or a woman. You can put your photo into something called Photo Feeler. Photo Feeler. If you Google Photo Feeler,
really.
and people will actually then rate your photo, right? And you indicate that it's for dating, and they will rate your photo. Now you got to be careful.
I
You
was
have
gonna.
to be,
Some
yeah.
people, right?
You don't you don't want to take it
Talk about
personally.
honesty.
You don't want to take it personally. In fact, you can do that for work too, you guys. If you have
yes.
a photo that you are taking and you want to use for work, you can put it in Photo Feeler and indicate it's for work, and people will actually give you feedback. And these are just people
Oh
who are
wow.
getting their own photos rated. So it's kind of they're giving back by rating. You
That is
know.
so awesome, and I've heard a lot of stuff, a lot of
hmm
information out there, of course, over the years, and I've never heard that. That is awesome. So I just jotted it down, so I wasn't trying to ignore you. I'm like, oh, I got to write this down.
No, it's really important. Yes, yes, yes. And
what?
then also dating three people at once without getting too serious too soon. Dating three people casually, right? No sex, a little kissing, a little canoodling, right? Because once you start having sex, then the oxytocin kicks in, the bonding kicks in, everything kicks
Yes,
in, as you know very well, Greg. And
absolutely. Are you
so
finding in the dating aspect? What are you finding that people are looking for when it comes to, say, even a sexual relation? Do they have? And I'm sex positive. Okay, I'm all about it's your choice. No one should coerce you, manipulate you, force you. Not at all. Absolutely not. And have you found with the dating realm, has that changed over the years as far as women, being sexually more open now and I'm all about women empowerment and women owning their sexuality in the dating realm. Have you found a difference?
yes, I
What's
think
your advice with that
yes.
with the single ladies out there
Yes, well,
and
particularly
men?
particularly with younger women, this is very true. They're much more into hookups and to
Yes.
having sex, really enjoying themselves, getting their pleasure on, which is a whole different thing, which is fantastic. I love that too.
yes.
But that's a different kind of goal than finding lasting uh,
I
love
agree.
or marriage. That's a
Absolutely.
different goal. And it's kind of incompatible because when you're just doing hookups, right, what happens is you get attached because we're built that way. Once we start having sex, we start attaching. And so the problem is, of course, getting attached to somebody who's not having the vision of long-term love that you might want.
Absolutely, and that's where I tell people you have to look at the risk, and sort of the consequences, and you have to look at you might feel a connection, but what if the other person is being dishonest and they only want a hookup, or let's be honest, they have a hookup, they have sex, and all of a sudden the connection is not what you thought it would be, and that goes. And I have people. I don't promote this, but I tell people it's your choice. It's your choice. I still have people that wait until they get married to have sex, and
Yeah.
there's people that have still, because of religious beliefs or their own personal preference, that have been divorced and they're getting remarried and they're waiting to have sex until they get married. And I'm like, okay, what's your view on sexual compatibility when you're looking for that loved one? What is your
Hmm.
take, and what advice do you give to the single people out there regarding that? Or is that sort of not discussed that much for you?
Well, that is discussed, and certainly we've had clients who in our coaching practice and they really want to wait, which is fantastic, right?
Yes.
And there's something to be said for not waiting because you then get to discover what you're like going physically, all the way.
Sure.
But it's totally up to the client. But we do caution much more on the other end is not having sex in the beginning. So I like there to be at least 2 months of consistently improving contact before you have actual intercourse.
And this is to,
This is to protect yourself from getting attached too soon, right?
mhm.
And to learn about the person and make sure that they're somebody you would like to be attached to.
Well, right, you're like, oh, what was I doing here? That type of situation when it comes into, common thing. Oh, I thought I liked you, and then I found out what you're really like. That type of situation, right? And
Hmm.
it's hard. It's very, and there's so many mixed views. I've had people that really like somebody. They waited a couple months, and then they're like, oh, Greg, we're not sexually compatible, and
Hmm.
it's life, it's relationships.
Yes.
And with 2022 going back to in your book, and I want to give uh, the listeners, the viewers out there as well, that you can definitely www.loveinninetydays.com. And I love the 2 months period, and we've heard for ages and ages, decades about you should wait this long. You know, you really know somebody through all 4 seasons. Well, in Michigan, we have 4 seasons. We were talking, you're in Florida, so that doesn't count. So, no, we're getting bombarded by snow now. But what is your take when you say the 2 months? Do you feel like you have a better footing or a better? I'm huge on gut instinct, that the difference between your heart and your gut instinct can get you in trouble if you don't listen to that gut instinct. And so,
Hmm.
do you feel like two months is a great barometer for people to know somebody?
Well, it's actually at least 2 months, at least, and
Okay.
often more, but at least 2 months. In 2 months, you can learn a lot, particularly if you're dating multiple people, and I like people to date multiple people, 3 people at once, casually. So you're not having intercourse with them. A little kissing, canoodling is okay. So you get
Sure.
a sense of the chemistry. You're going to get a sense of the chemistry. There's a little fooling around here. So you're going to get a sense.
Okay. You're not telling, don't touch, don't kiss, don't. Okay, good.
No, no, it's not that
Okay.
extreme. So you know there's something going on, and you want this chemistry, right? But you want to
Yes.
be dating 3 people, and during those 2 months, you're going to be comparing and contrasting your people. Like, oh, this one makes me feel fantastic. I kind of feel weird or put down when I'm interacting with that one. This one, makes me laugh, right? The other one is too serious. So it's great that you can compare and you can contrast. You kind of declare that you yourself are your own mini bachelorette or your own mini bachelor. You know that show where several
Oh,
people have to
yes.
compete with you. Now, of course, what happens is that people will say, I can't even find one good person to date. What are you talking about? Three?
I I've heard this. And we talked, before about the online dating. What the last 8 years, I've heard 85% of couples meet online in one form or another now,
Yes.
and it's not the old. Oh, we met it, and I still have couples that met. They meet in a bar, a drunken excursion turned into whatever, or relatives hooking them up in or putting them together type of thing. What is it when it comes to like dating three? And I agree. I think it's easy to weed out, and that might be different in your eyes, to weed out who you're not interested in. There's no chemistry, there's no whatever. And how important is it for you to have chemistry? And we might have different views on this. Do you feel like chemistry is either there or it's not? Or do you feel like it can mature over time?
I think there has to be a little bit of chemistry, at least in the beginning, and in particular, the smell, the smell,
I'm like, I'm like sniffing my armpit now. Uh-oh.
the smell has to be good. The person has to smell good to you. Now, that is biologically based, right?
Yep.
We are wired for this.
The
Uh,
pheromones, right, that we
it
hear so
actually,
much
yes,
about.
we're wired for this. And if there's a good smell, there's a little bit of chemistry, it could develop into fantastic chemistry. It could,
Absolutely.
you know. On the other hand, if there's tremendous chemistry and you're just jumping on each other and going at it, often that results in what I call the flame out. Right.
Yup.
Where it's like you're too much too soon, right? You don't really know each other. It's
Yep.
terrifying. You don't know what the hell's going on. And the whole thing just
And,
collapses.
and I tell people, my advice, excuse me, oh, my voice is going through puberty again. But I wish I was well, maybe not that young,
It
but
sounds good, Greg.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, but yeah, I didn't want to go back there that many years ago. But looking, there's got to be that balance, and I talk about, I'm huge on the mind, body, heart, and soul of relationships, of love, of not only love, but also the mind, body, heart, and soul of sex. And with chemistry, there's got to be that balance. And as probably a lot better than I do, that like you said, the chemistry can be all hot and heavy. Sex is great, but after it's done, for me, it might be 20 seconds. But no, but I'm teasing. But then it's like, then what? Where is the emotional chemistry, the mental or intellectual chemistry? I more or less said mental chemistry because when I say intellectual chemistry, people think it's more about your IQ, in the soulful chemistry. And that's where I say that balance that you're talking about. That
Hmm.
there's sometimes that chemistry can turn out and you can be compatible and great, terrific. And other times, like you said, I love your terminology about flaming out. It burns
Hmm.
out quick.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's so true. It's really a matter, if you want a lasting, passionate relationship, it's a matter of finding your best friend who has chemistry with you.
Now that is so easy, isn't it? No.
No,
I,
that's why I have a whole book.
good. Show it, please. Show it right there. There it is. Love in 90 days. And please, where can people find your book? Is it on Amazon? And you are the Amazon. Go ahead. Give
Yes,
yourself
I have
props.
a show on
Amazon.
Amazon, actually, on Amazon Prime, and it's called Love in 90 Days. Surprise.
Oh, awesome.
And then also the book is available on Amazon. And this book is the answer to the question that I mentioned earlier, where people say, I can't even find one good person to date. How do I get three? This is very important because there are ways to make all the logarithms in the dating apps work in your favor, where you get seen by thousands of people instead of hundreds.
Awesome.
There are
Now,
secrets like that. There are secrets like, I was telling you guys about the picture. There are
right.
secrets about how to write the profile. And so you can transform your online dating or your digital dating so that it goes from being frustrating, horrible, nowhere, to having actually having it raining good matches, raining like raining men or raining women.
Hilarious. And that is awesome. And I'm going to bring up a blast from your past. And I was going to say, I have an issue a little bit with you when you refer to us men as, instead of riding in on the white horse, if you will, knight in shining armor, referring to us men as frogs. No.
No, actually, in my Amazon show, I talk about looking for the frog prince. And that is, now the frog prince is two mints in one, right? So what is the frog prince? There's no perfect prince.
No.
There's, the fairy tale shows the perfect prince. There is no perfect prince or
No.
princess, right? No.
Right. You hear that,
But
ladies?
but you can find someone who meets three important criteria. I have three criteria for somebody to be on your dance card. One, they're crazy about you. They know how fantastic you are. They know you're incredible. They know you're one of a kind. Number two, they're willing to grow. There's no perfect prince or princess, but they're willing to grow. They go into therapy. They can tell you what they did wrong in their last relationship. They're in growth courses, right? Number three is, same values, soulmate basics. In other words, same values, goals, and some chemistry, right? So those are the three criteria.
Only some chemistry?
Some chemistry,
Only a little?
some.
And I love that. And your philosophies, we share a lot. And I know you don't know me that well at all. We share, as far as professional, we share a lot of philosophies in how I approach my work with couples too, and have over the years. And I say, I want couples to be able to talk about anything, no matter if it pisses you off or hurts your feelings. And the important about how you read each other and how you are able, and I love your term and I use it, to evolve and grow together. And that you hold on to your own individuality at the same time as a relationship. And it's crucial, and especially how you manage, we'll say, arguments, we'll say discussions, disagreements, right? But arguments and stuff, and how you handle that and what you're looking for, but also about yourself. And I love that. And I love asking people, and, have you asked people, what did they do to mess up their prior relationship or marriage? And, how many people, well, I did nothing wrong. It was all her fault, all
Exactly.
his fault. And you can learn a lot of people, and we all do, everybody, we do stuff wrong. And are they humble enough to admit that and to say, hey, I've learned, I want to grow, I don't want to be this way anymore. So I love your philosophy. Now, okay, men are frogs. What are women?
Well, no, they're frog princes, and women are frog princesses. Because they're no perfect women, right?
No,
No
they're
perfect.
not.
So it's
No.
frog princes and frog princesses. But then what happens is you get a really good frog prince or frog princess.
Aw,
They grow into a almost perfect one
yes.
because they're willing to grow and they get how amazing you are. And they will let you also coach them a little bit. Like, you're into meditation, or let's say you're into yoga, and they'll say,
Sure.
oh, I'll try it with you, right? They're willing to grow.
I,
That is really, really important.
I,
People fall for a pretty face or, a handsome, but that's not where it's at.
a short, bald dude, I tell people. No. But it's looking at, and I love that, and it's terrific. And I have a philosophy. People talk about, oh, I want a soulmate, right? And I say, one question I ask: Are soulmates found or are they made? In my
Beautiful.
in
Ah,
my
Greg.
and I talked about this for a long time, and I said, yeah, you need chemistry, you need a common thing. But my personal belief is, and I've seen, it's rare, but I've seen people that found each other and they were just like boom, and soulmates and married, happily together 50, 60 years. I said that's rare. That's like the unicorn.
Exactly.
But most people, I say, what do you do? What can you do to make yourselves each other's soulmates? So I love your philosophy about evolving and growing, and
Hmm.
it's so crucial. When in with Love in 90 Days, where does your focus change from say early to mid 20s, late 20s to people that have been divorced and they're now in their 40s, 50s, 60s, or even older? Does your
Hmm.
philosophy change with that?
Yes, there is some change in the philosophy. In fact, I have a whole chapter in Love and 90 Days on the over 45s.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. But there is a change. And, of course, the younger people are more into hooking up and experimenting and that kind of
Right,
thing.
right,
Uh, the older people are immediately more interested in lasting love relationships. The unfortunate truth is that as women age, there are less and less men, less and less available single men.
yes, yes.
So the reality is, you can find love no matter what. I mean, we've had people in our program who are in their, like literally in their young 80s
That is so true.
in our
I love
coaching
it.
program.
I love it though. That I think that is so cool.
Yes, yes, it's so cool. It's so cool
It's
because they
awesome.
reinvent themselves, right? And they go for it, and they need sometimes to get a little coaching on how to work the technology.
Oh, that is so true, right? It is.
They go for it, and it's adorable and it's amazing, and they get to be like teenagers all over again.
Oh,
But here's the thing: they have to understand that there are few men, so they have to be much more proactive in terms of online reaching out, liking people, saying hello, messaging, reaching out, and they really have to be more active with pursuing the men.
the more mature audience, we'll say that the more mature people. Do you find it's true that there are less men, and we could get into, men. I used to. I won't joke around today. I used to say men die, 5 to 7 years on average before women do, because God, the universe, whatever you believe in, puts us out of our misery and does us a favor. No, I joke around. I know. I'm so unprofessional. This is me, though. So I'm joking, people. Um, but I look at, do you advise them to, when you say about putting it out there more, do you advise them to be less choosy?
Um, you have to still stick to the three criteria that I mentioned. You have to
I
be
love
crazy
your
about you, willing
criteria.
to grow, and soulmate basics.
I love
But
that.
if those three criteria are there, yes, I would. I mean, it can happen no matter what. I mean, we even had a woman who fell in love with this guy who had one leg. He had one leg.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But let me tell you, he met those three criteria. She was in her 60s. She had never been in a good love relationship. She came
Oh,
into coaching, had a number of very horrible relationships, some of them with addicts and alcoholics. And she met this guy, and he was amazing because he was in full recovery. So for recovery for like 25 years or something. And somebody who's in full recovery is really meets my criteria number two, willing to grow, because that means they're constantly working on themselves. What did they do wrong? What's going on? What are they envisioning? Connecting to spiritual or divine process. So he was amazing, amazing.
ah,
And she gave him a chance physically, she gave him a chance. He turned out to be, by the way, great in bed, by the way.
I was gonna. He still has, lost one leg. He still has two left, right? No.
But I mean, so I mean, he treated her like a queen and treats her like a queen. So I mean, because, with the coaching, we worked with her to say what's really important, what's going to really make you happy.
And a lot of people, and I love that because I find so many people, and I'm sure you have as well. What's love? What's a healthy, happy relationship to you? Don't tell me what I want to hear. Don't tell me what other people, whatever your religious beliefs, what your family, friends. I want to know what you want. And a lot of people, they look like, Greg, I don't know. So I love that.
Exactly.
I love that you help your clients and your people to understand what's important to them.
Yes, we actually have a checklist in Love in 90 Days where you go over what I call the tough and tender care, tender loving care. The TTLC needs, tough and tender loving care needs. And these are very specific about what love means to you, right?
Awesome.
Being
Yes.
treated as though I'm very special, being encouraged to live my dreams, being held when I'm feeling vulnerable. They're very specific.
I
It's like,
love
what
that.
is love? What is love for you? Because you, particularly women, they don't think of their needs. They are always focused on other people and what they need, or they meet somebody that they can rescue or save. I can save him. I can rescue him.
Are you being stereotypical now? No. Oh, she froze up a little bit. Oh, she'll come back. And oh, there you are. I was
Yeah,
gonna say, stereotyp, and I've met some. I tell people there are some very selfish women and men out there, both. And I tell people,
that's true.
I joke around. I say I'm an equal gender basher, but no, I don't bash. And I don't get into a lot of gender stereotypes. There's a few, but
Hmm.
I look at, especially when your advice about people that have been, like you mentioned, and we both, I'm sure, have worked with thousands of people that very abusive relationships, addictions, they get treated very poorly. And like you said, you know, they want to feel needed, a purpose, and they'd rather be in a toxic relationship than being alone. And
Yeah.
it's what they're used to. And I'm like, why? Tell me. I'm not judging. I want to know why. So, what is your advice that people, that pattern that they fall into from one abusive relationship to another? The only thing that's different is the name changes, right?
Yes, well, that's insidious, because you keep falling for the same type and you wind up again with an alcoholic, or you wind up again being cheated on, or you wind up again being left. And
Yes.
even though you swore up and down it was never going to happen again, right? So that kind of thing, there is an unconscious self-sabotage that goes on where you're picking usually this. It's kind of similar to what happened to you growing up, whatever the wounding that you got from your parents and your, growing up, you were abandoned, you were didn't feel loved, you whatever it was, you were abused. And so that's coloring it, and you're tending to pick these people, and it's unconscious. Now, that's where to get over that, it's very important to have what I call a fairy godmother type coach.
I, you know what? I love that. You know what? That is phenomenal. And when you have a good, even professional, professionals out there like us, and I could get on a soapbox about the so-called coaches. You have to remember they want what's best for you. It's
Hmm.
not what's best or what they view for you. They want you, and I promote this highly, that I want you, I want people to have the life that you want, not how everybody else should deem you to live the life you want. And I tell, as long as you're not hurting yourself, hurting other people, that's crucial. I'm all about being respectful and honest. And no, I love it, and it's dynamic. And where can people find you again? Where can I know you're all over the place. Where can people find you? And please plug your Amazon Prime show as well, so people can
Yeah,
can
you guys
find
might
you.
really like the Amazon Prime show. It was originally a PBS show, and it's for couples and individuals. I've gotten a lot of great feedback from it. And as a matter of fact, the three couples who were just sitting in the studio audience got married just from watching that.
Did they go by your rules, or they just left and
They
found someone to
just
marry
took
them that day?
different parts of the of the process, and they got married, including the woman who was asking for the PBS pledge special money to be handed in, because she came to me and she said,
Oh,
I'm gonna ask for the PBS, money, the pledges, and I need
yes.
to try it because I try everything, and she was in her
Oh,
50s, never been married, and we found her the great love of her life in
oh my
60 days.
goodness.
Yeah.
You do, and you have and done for many years, remarkable work. And I'm one though that is very, I don't know, cautious or critical, of other people's work. And you're remarkable. In all honesty, you're dynamic.
Oh, thank you
And
so much, Greg. Thank you so
so,
much.
and I'm going to, and I want people to realize um, before we stop the show, you can find, Amazon's love expert, Dr. Diana Kirshner, and she will personally match you with one of her handpicked coaches. And I gotta, I'll have to look at what your criteria is for one of your coaches. For a free 40 minutes. 40 minutes is a long time. Breakthrough to love coaching session, by phone or Zoom. You just simply fill out a form at, well, it's loveinninetydays.com/dating hyphen coach. So again, HTTPS, and it's on Facebook, on YouTube, and I'll promote this all over the place as well. HTTPS colon, / loveinninetydays.com/dating hyphen coach, and say that I sent you. Say that Greg sent you, and you will get the VIP treatment. It is so crucial. You have to mention I sent you, that Greg sent you, okay?
Hmm.
I don't know if you can get away with the short bald guy sent you. I don't know.
No,
But
that's to
say
be Greg.
Greg sent you for VIP
And you're
treatment.
putting a link on the show notes down below?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yep,
there's a link for you guys,
Yep.
so it's loveinninetydays.com in the coaching tab. Say Greg
Absolutely.
sent me, and just below here on the show notes, go and you'll find your link and you can get there and you will be blown away. You will have
And
a very powerful session.
you know what?
Actually, one of these coaches, I role reversed with one of my coaches to help me do my PBS show.
Oh,
And she just helped me like so profoundly. It just rolled out beautifully. And you could actually talk to one of those.
you are, and I appreciate you for being on the show. I'm very, very flattered that you agreed to be on the show. I'm a huge fan. So,
Thank you so
and
much, Greg. Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye bye.
And
Wishing you
take care.
love.
Take care, everybody.